Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to Product Review. Now, if you are an active YouTube content creator, I'm sure you must be using a particular video editing software. Now, I use Adobe Premiere Pro Cc 2017 and Camtasia Studio 8 for my laptop screen recording. And if it is Mac, I use ScreenFlow. Now, what I've always found in these softwares, and I'm sure you must be using your own favorite software, the software that you're more comfortable with, the one that you've used from the beginning, where you know all the ins and the outs. But in all of these video editing softwares, there's one thing that I've always found lacking is the absence of good dynamic video and image transitions. Now, other than Cyberlink Power Director, which I think has probably the maximum number of transition effects, most of the video editing softwares have very basic transition effects. Like, for example, Adobe Premiere Pro, you have, though the software is pretty complicated to learn, the learning curve is high and does a lot of amazing things in terms of video editing. But when it comes to transitions, it has very basic transitions like fade, crossfade, zoom, wipe, push. You have something called iris, which I think you find in almost every video editing software. So it doesn't really make your video stand out. Now, some of us may not actually like to use transitions that much. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos wherein a person would like to use the cut effect, where you have one clip and the second clip starts automatically. So it's a cut. But sometimes I find the cut effect very abrupt. And suppose, for example, as I'm speaking to you right now and I make a mistake, so rather than reshooting the entire clip, I would rather begin from the place, reshoot from the place where I made a mistake. So then when I want to join these clips and add a transition, if I simply use a cut, it shows up. But if I use something like a crossfade in Adobe Premiere Pro or probably fade effect in Camtasia, it smoothens out the movement of one clip into the other. So transitions are pretty important. And especially when you are transitioning from one clip to the other, which are very, very different, then a good dynamic transition effect really works a lot. Makes your video stand out, makes a video of a better quality. So the idea is, how do we get good dynamic transitions in the already existing transitions of various kind of video editing softwares? Now, what I'm about to discuss today is valid for all video editing softwares. So I sat thinking as to how I can improve my transition effects. And I tried various techniques, trial and error. And then suddenly I hit upon an idea as to why not use the transition effects of PowerPoint or Keynote in Mac and use these transition effects in our video editing softwares. After all, PowerPoint slides can be converted into video, and we can convert the keynote presentation into a video. So why not use these transitions in, let's say, Adobe Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro or say, for example, Camtasia? So can we use it or not? That was my initial question. And it took me almost 2 days to figure out the best way of doing it. And yes, it is possible. You can use amazing transitions, especially in the case of PowerPoint and Keynote. Probably there are other presentation software that I'm not aware of which have very good transition effects. You can use all of that into any video editing software, into transitioning from one clip to the other. So, because the fact of the matter is, presentation softwares, these softwares are dependent on animations and transitions. So they have built-in transitions and animations of a lot of huge variety, and especially in the case of PowerPoint, the Office 365, it has amazing, PowerPoint 2017 has amazing slide transitions. In Mac, the Keynote already had amazing transitions. But now the transitions added in PowerPoint are also very amazing. So I'm going to show you some of that, and I'm going to show you in this video how to use PowerPoint and Keynote transitions in your video, irrespective of the video editing software. So let's go and have a look. So this is my laptop, and first of all I'm going to show you PowerPoint being used in Adobe Premiere Pro. So first of all, let me open Premiere Pro, and remember, whatever I'm doing in Premiere Pro is workable for any video editing software that can remove the chroma key. So you just need to be able to get a software that can remove a particular color, and I'll show you what I actually mean. So the Premiere Pro will take a little while to start up, and so meanwhile, yeah, I think it's already on now. So let's go for a test. I've already got a test here, and of course it's empty. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to import two clips. I'm just going to show you the transitions, how to do the transitions, and let me remove all these previous ones, and so that we can create all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my product review, and let's say I'm going to do HDMI splitter. Okay, let me try this. Now this is my disclaimer. This is the disclaimer that I generally use for my videos, and then let me use a clip where I'm speaking in front of the camera. I think it should be clip 4. Yeah, so this is what I'm speaking in front of the camera. So I'm going to do the transition between these two because the transitions become useful only if you are able to have different clips with different color backgrounds and things, stuff like that. So let me just show you how this works. This is the disclaimer that you see, and it works like this. Let me scrub it up here, and this clip I'm going to just edit here. I'm going to hit Control K, and let me bring it a little bit here, slightly before. Control K. I'm going to remove this, and this is my second clip. So second clip and first clip have to be joined with a transition, and I'm going to use PowerPoint to do that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to bring it to the end of the first clip. So end of the first clip is here. Now let me zoom into the timeline. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one frame before. So I've got to select a frame here. Now how I select the frame is go to the end of clip 1 and then press the left arrow key. It will take you just one frame before. Remember, this is 30 frames per second. So from the 30th frame, I'm going to the 29th frame. So that is how it works. So now I'm here. Now what I do, in the case of Adobe Premiere Pro Cc 2017, as you can see, the way of capturing, what we're going to do is we're going to capture this particular frame into an image. Now different softwares would be able to do this differently, but all of them, at least most of them, would be able to do this. In Premiere Pro, what you do is, once you go back one frame, the last frame, look for this camera icon. It says export frame. In case you don't see this, look at this plus sign, hit this plus sign, you will see all the keys here, all the buttons here, and you just have to click and drag them here, and you will be able to get those buttons out here. I already have my export frame as setting here. It is the camera icon. Now what I do is I hit the camera icon, and it tells me some number. It says disclaimer, blah blah blah. I simply say disclaimer. And remember the format, I have an option of JPEG, PNG, TIFF, GIF, etc. or BMP. I choose JPEG and I want to save it in eVideos. You can browse the directory where you want to save it. The folder that I'm going to choose is eVideos and I hit OK and the image is saved. Now what I do is I go back to my second clip and go to the beginning of the second clip, and this already has a frame in it. The moment you have a frame, it will automatically show up. Now remember, when I hit the end of my first clip, there was no frame, it was black. So I had to go one step back. But here, the very first point of the clip has a frame here. So I need this frame and I'm going to convert this into an image too. So I click this, again it gives me disclaimer because the project name becomes disclaimer. So here I'm going to say C0001. This is the name of this particular MP4 clip and it is again a JPEG. I'm still saving it to eVideos. I say hit OK and I'll tell you what the use of this. Now let's go and open up PowerPoint. Now the PowerPoint I'm using is PowerPoint 365 and let's take up something, a blank presentation. There's nothing here. Remove all these text boxes, you don't need them. Zoom out a little bit. Now what you need to do is you need to fill this with the image. But remember, the first order of rule is that the image that you have created from here and the slide of the PowerPoint should match in size. Now, if you look at the image, let's look at the image first. I stored it in eVideos and these were the two images. Disclaimer. If you look at the properties, here and let's look at the details. You'll notice it is 1920 by 1080. This is 16:9 ratio. So that is exactly what I want here. So in my slide design, I go and already check it out, it is 16:9. If you want, you can build a custom slide, you can actually make it 16:9. It actually makes no difference. And you can actually let it remain as it was. But if you really want the same thing, the same exact size, you can get this. Now what you need to do is you need to fill this with the image of the first. Rather than importing the image and putting it up here, best way is format background. Right click, format background and hit this thing, picture texture fill, picture or texture fill, and then hit file. And now look for where that file is. It is eVideos and the first image is disclaimer. You have to insert the last frame of the first clip on slide number 1. And remember, it was disclaimer. If you just have a look here, this guy was disclaimer. So this is what we wanted here. Now what you do is you duplicate the slide and now you fill it with a solid fill. And when you want to fill it with a solid fill, try to use a color which is very bright and which is probably not present in my first slide. And this is green color. This is the green chroma key color. If you look in my first slide, none of them are green. So I won't use yellow here. I won't use this kind of a reddish here. So I would prefer to use something which is unique. But in case you find this kind of a green color in your first slide, don't use green here, use some other color. Try to make it bright. Now what you do, you got to put now the slide transitions. Now the way PowerPoint works and the way Keynote works are a little different. So the difference lies in the way you apply the transitions. Now in the case of PowerPoint, you have to apply the transitions on the second slide. That means the second slide is going to come on top of the first slide and therefore the transition is applied to the second slide. So transition, let's say I choose, let me just show you the fade effect. Now if I use a fade effect, this is what happens. This is, of course, let me go to the first slide and show you the fade effect. If I click this, it fades into green. But obviously we don't want fade effect, because fade effect is almost there in every video editing software. So we want something dynamic, something which only PowerPoint can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use curtains. Now when I use curtains, look at what happens. I click. My second slide opens with curtains. So this is the kind of transition that I want. But I also want it to be automatic. So what I'm going to do is I want it to go to slide number 2. Remember, I'm right now in slide number 1. I hit the advanced slide. I remove the on mouse click. I say after 1 second. So I want a 1 second duration to do this. But remember, the duration of the transition is 2 seconds. But within 1 second of disclaimer, it will go to here. So this is what happens. Now, since we have automatically done this, now go to File, hit Export, and then it gives you an option of creating a video. And the moment, and in my case, and in generally, it will always be selected here. And then choose the quality you want. Try and go for the maximum quality here. As it is only 2 slides, so it's not much of a problem in terms of, and look at the size 1920 by 1080. This is exactly the size we want. And seconds spent on each slide, this does not matter. This matters if you were to do it manually. We have already given the time, but still you can make it 1 second. Doesn't really matter. It will automatically take the timing that you have put. So now hit create video. Asks you where to store it. Again, go back to my videos. And here I'm going to say transition 1. Because I'm going to show you a couple of transition more. So I save it, and as you can see at the bottom, it is creating the video transition into an MP4 file. And once it completely converts it, we are going to bring this video into Premiere Pro. And though we did not use the first image of the second clip, you will understand why I did that. So now I go back to Premiere Pro, I say import, and in my import, I go to videos, and there is transition number 1. I open it up, and then I place this on top of the 2 clips. So try and make these 2 clips on the same track. And now I have this transition here. Now what happens is, if I were to play it like this, as you can see, the green
Hi
screen
everyone,
is
this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to Product Review.
And some audio is happening here. So what I'm going to do is, the next step that you need to do is go to the place where the green is completely on the screen. And in the case of Premiere Pro, the way of removing this is the following. Go to Editing and go to Video Effects and go to Keying. In Keying, you go for the last one, Ultra Key, select it and drag it into this particular clip in which the green screen exists. The moment you do that, you get some effect controls. Can you see this effect controls? And here it says Ultra Key. And there is a pen dropper tool here. So the moment you hit the pen dropper tool, but before you do that, there's one more thing that you need to check out. You need to know when you want this particular second video to come up. So what you do is, go here and try to track the place where the green appears for the first time. Can you see? And advance it slowly frame by frame using the right arrow key. Can you see the green is appearing here? So I'm going to place my second clip exactly at this point. Now go to the place where the green occupies the entire screen. Of course, it doesn't really matter, but it's easier that way. And you've already dropped the Ultra Key here. Go to the Ultra Key here. And in the Ultra Key, let me select this one. Yeah. In the Ultra Key, take the pen dropper tool and hit it on the green one. the green color disappears. Now look at the transition that is happening. Look at it from the beginning. Let me zoom out a bit. Now look what happens. The disclaimer is there. And I always try to put a disclaimer before my videos. Very important to do this soon. And now look at the transitions about to come.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to Product Review. Today I'm going to be doing
this transition
unboxing.
Did not exist in Premiere Pro, but this is an amazing curtain transition. Have a look at it again. Just see how it moves.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to Product
Perfectly
Review.
suited.
Today
But suppose, for example, it so happens that your animation is happening somewhere over here. So when, in my case, the transition was happening, as you notice, the moment the curtain moved, I started speaking. But suppose you want me to speak a little bit later, or for that matter, you want, suppose your animation is happening somewhere here on this second clip, and right now this particular disclaimer is blocking that. So you can start a little later too. You just decide where you want to start. For example, let us say you want to start after the curtain completely moves. Now it moves completely here. Okay. So let me drag it and put it here. But what do I do here? If this happens, the curtain won't show up well. It will be just dark beneath. So what do? This is where we add the image. So what I do is, now go back to my assembly and now I import my image. Remember, we had the image of the first frame of the second clip, C0001 JPEG. Now bring that here and put it here. And since it's an image, you can expand it very easily. Let it go and cover here. Now look at how the transition behaves. It opens up, the image comes up, but remember, it's static. It's only going to start when the
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and
no,
welcome
but
to Product
in this
Review.
particular case, doesn't look that good. It looks much better if the video starts somewhere when the curtain is just opened up my face. Maybe somewhere here. So what I do is, I cut this up, I hit Ctrl K, it cuts exactly where the playhead is. Then I bring my, okay, sorry, something went wrong. So I bring it up here. So this is what happens. See, my face appears.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to...
And since this was the first frame of the second clip, there is no transition. This cut will never show.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan.
So it looks as if I'm actually waiting for the curtain to go off and then speak. So you see, I have now used a PowerPoint transition in Premiere Pro. Now let's try one more. One of the most amazing transitions that you'll find in the case of PowerPoint and in the case of Mac Keynote also, which of course I'll show in a while, is what is called as morph. Now morph is a very beautiful transition. In morph, what happens is, if you have an object in one slide and in the second slide you have the same object at another position, then when it goes from this slide to this slide, it will animate the object to go from this place to this place. Depending upon the duration of your transition, it will move slowly, it will move fast. So what I want now in this second transition is, the second transition that I plan to do here is that I want to use morph transition, and you will just understand in a moment what I mean. So when you want to use morph transition, what you first do is take the image of this, convert this into an image, this green screen. And the way to do that in PowerPoint is go to File, hit Save As, But first of all, you have to be on the slide which you want to convert into an image. So File, Save As, Browse. It gives you the option to save as. You say JPEG. And where do you want to save it? We all want to save it e-videos. That's the place we want to save it. And this one I'm saying is PPT morph transition. The more detail you write, the better it will be for you to understand later on. So save it as a JPEG. It's asking me, do you want all slides or only this one? I say only this one. So I just want the green one. Now what I do is I fill the second one also with the same picture as the first one. And you will just understand why I'm doing this in a moment. Now what I do, I go back to the first one and I insert the green picture, the PPT morph transition JPEG. We want the green one, right? Okay. So this is the green one. It automatically fills it up, but I'm going to drag it outside. Then I'm going to copy it, bring it to my slide number 2. I paste it and then I make it cover the entire slide. Now remember, in slide 1, this green is outside. In slide 2, I've placed it on top. And now what I'm going to do is in slide 2, I'm going to say transition. The first one was curtain. Now I'm going to say morph. Now this morph is just like magic move in Keynote. So let's go here and let's check out how this works. Can you see? It comes from that side. Now it need not come from that side. It can even come from any side for that matter. So you can place it here, you can place it here, you can place it here. So it comes in and it moves automatically. Or you can do one more thing. You can cut this into half. One part comes from here, another part comes from here. You can do a variety of movements using this. So let's, and since it is again automatically done for 1 second, I'm going to export this again and create video. Highest quality, create video. Tells me where to save it. This time I'm going to say transition number 2. Transition number 2. So save. And the MP4 is being created here. Now go back to Premiere Pro. Remove this image. Remove the transition 1. Let's import transition number 2. This is presentation number 2. Let me check. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is presentation number 2. So now what we need to do is go back here, move 1 frame at a time using the right arrow key and wait for the green to appear. And that is where you want your, it's going to take a while. Yeah, this is where it appears. Now bring your video here. And there you go. Now look what happens. And of course, I have to remove the green key. So I do editing, video effects, keying, ultra key, and put it here. Take the, then place it where the green is completely there. Take this, remove the green key. Now look at the transition.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and
And
welcome
again, you
to
can
Product
just
Review.
see where you want the your video to start. In my case, this part is blank. I let my face completely appear and I'm started speaking now. But if you want, you can make him speak when it is over. So what do you mean? So what does that means is you bring this up here and fill this up with the image. So if you do that, I think it was this image. So let me place it on top. Bring this on top of here and okay, bring this here, bring this lower here and adjust this. Now look at what happens. I'll speak only when the animation is complete. Even there it is taking a bit of time because my video starts a little late. So what I'm basically trying to say is that you can customize your transition. You can decide when the transition has to appear and when it doesn't have to appear. So that is how you use the PowerPoint transitions. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it's done with Keynote. So the next is Keynote. So I'm going to just slide my chair to my Mac. Wait a sec. Okay. So I'm here in my Mac. So this is my Mac and I'm going to open my Keynote. So go to Launchpad. My Keynote is here. And the Keynote says, do you want a new document or open an old one? I say new document. Then I choose white because I want 16 by 9. And let me go with white one first, white colored one. Choose. And I get this. I go full screen. And just let me zoom out a bit. And I could have used my shortcut keys. But I want you to see how it's done. So I'm going to remove all of this. We don't need any of this. And let me first check whether I have there's not enough space in, okay, let me say, save this as transition 3. Let me say transition 3. And I'm going to save it in my desktop. So there it is saved. You can fill this, and in format you can do the filling here. Here you go to hit the fill and go for image fill, and then you go to choose the image. In desktop I choose disclaimer and automatically it fills it up with disclaimer. Then I go to my second slide. I just duplicate this, and now I fill it with a solid color, and the color that I'm going to choose is obviously going to be bright green. So make it as bright as you can. So this is my green screen. And in this, now what you need to understand is here the transitions are a little different. In PowerPoint, the transitions tell you how the transition, the second slide is going to come over the first. Here the transitions tells you how the first slide is going to disappear. So I'm going to go for the first slide and I'm going to try and animate. I'm going to use a transition effect, something which is really great. There is this twist thing. See, this is how it comes. So in Keynote, the transition tells you how the slide will disappear, whereas in PowerPoint, the transition tells you how the slide will appear. Drop is like this. Magic move won't work because magic move is similar to morph there. Okay, so this is clothesline, this is confetti, this is beautiful. So I'm going to use confetti here. So I select confetti and then I make it move automatically. So there is no delay. On click it says, I say automatically. Delay, I don't want any delay. 0.5 seconds is perfectly fine. Duration, well, I want it to be a little bit slow so that I can just check this out. So let's hit play. Look at how beautiful the transition is. So let's convert this into the video file, and this is how you do it. File, you go to export to, you go for QuickTime and self-playing, and these of course you don't need, but remember we need 1080p. So we hit next, and then it says what is the name that you want to give it. I think we had transition 1 and transition 2 there. Let's call it transition 3. So export it desktop, and it's converting this into a movie, and I'm going to pull this movie into my Windows laptop without physically moving the file. I don't have to have a pen drive to move this. I'm just going to use Tornado to get this file. So in case you don't know what Tornado is, go and check one of my videos on Tornado. You'll be able to understand. And remember, it was transition 3. Transition 3 M4V. Here it is transition 3 M4V. And remember, this file is actually in my Mac. I'm pulling it in my Windows. Download. It says save where. I'm going to save it again on eVideos. Transition 3 M4V file. Save it. It takes a little bit of time because this My Passport E is a WD Western Digital external hard drive, 2 terabyte hard drive. So it's going to save it in that. So that's why it's going to take a little bit of time. Had it been my internal hard drive, it would have saved it faster. And now it says it's completed. Not much of a problem. So let's go here and import this particular one. M4V, transition M4V. Bring it here. And let's remove these two from the timeline. I bring transition here. And now again, we have to figure out where does the green appear first. So this is the first frame of the transition. I'm moving my right arrow key. It starts here. So let's start our video here. So let's remove the color now. Video effects, keying, put the Ultra key here. Take this, remove the color. Now let's look at the transition.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to
Now you may not want, now remember, look at this. It's a little bit jerky because I think my fan is already running now.
Hi everyone, this is
Now you may not want
and welcome to
me to speak before the transition is complete, because here, you don't want me to speak here. Perhaps you would want the speaker to speak at this point. So bring this guy here and fill the rest with the JPEG taken from the second clip. And just trim it down and bring it here. Now look what happens.
Hi everyone, this is
See,
Kalyan
the
Kumar.
transition
and
gets
welcome
over.
to Product
It's so
Review.
smooth. Now look what happens.
Hi everyone, this is Kalyan Kumar and welcome to Product Review. Today I'm going to be doing
It's perfectly fine. It's working fine. And now you're able to see how we can use the transitions from PowerPoint and Keynote in Adobe Premiere Pro. And the same thing you can do for your video editing software as long as it can remove the chroma key. So that was how you can use PowerPoint and Keynote transitions in your video editing software to create your videos with more dynamic transitions. Now, a word of caution here, that when you use PowerPoint and Keynote transitions here, as you saw in the video, the second screen, the second slide I always use was green colored. It's not necessary to use green color. You can use any color, but provided that color is not present in the previous slide. So first look at the previous slide and then decide on what color you want, because when you remove the green color or any color of the second slide, if that color is present in the first slide also, even that will get removed. So be careful about that part. Now, I do understand the fact that it is easier to take the inbuilt video transitions and put them into your timeline, and that just takes about 2 or 3 seconds to do, whether this takes about 4 to 5 minutes to do. But if you're really keen on creating beautiful transitions, if you're really keen on creating a great video, I think investing about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes perhaps, just to make them look extra good, extra dynamic, I don't think that is a waste of time. I think that is going to just make your video stand out a little bit more. But of course, we do not need dynamic transitions every time there is a clip change. But definitely we do need it sometimes, and that really helps our videos look much better. Now, I also experimented with one more thing. I wanted to know that if I have 3 different editing softwares, video editing softwares, and let's say I've got 3 of them, and software 1 has one very special transition which the other 2 don't have. Second one has something unique, and the third one has something unique. So I wanted to know if I can make a single video in which I can use all these 3 transitions. And that is pretty simple to do. Let's say, for example, I've got 4 clips. Now I want to join these 4 clips, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they would be joined by 3 transitions. One between 1 and 2, second between 2 and 3, and the third between 3 and 4. So if I'm going to have 3 transitions, and I got 3 softwares with me, 3 different video editing softwares. So what I did was I used clip 1 and clip 2 in software 1 and use its transition effect, and then converted the entire thing into a single video. Then I took that video into software number 2, added clip number 3 and used its special transition effect and created another video. And then I took this video to software number 3, added clip number 4 and added the transition of software number 3 and created the final video. Now this of course took a lot of time because I had to go keep rendering the files at least 3 times. But for shorter videos, this really would work. But then the downside is that you need those 3 softwares, and that would definitely occupy a lot of space in your computer. And these 3 softwares have to be good enough to have that kind of a transition effect that you would really want to use. And small and free softwares probably will not be able to do it. Another important thing is, if you use PowerPoint transitions or Keynote transitions, remember the only way you can use them is if your software supports removal of color. Now Camtasia 8 supports it, 8 and above, but Camtasia 7 does not. And in Adobe Premiere Pro, of course, it supports it, Final Cut Pro supports it, but if you have a low end or a free kind of a software, they may not support it. So in those softwares, you will not be able to use the PowerPoint presentations that I showed you to be able to use them as a transition effect. However, what you can do in those cases is, instead of making the second slide with a colored thing, what you could do is you could take the first frame of the second clip and the last frame of the first clip and use the last clip of the first frame on slide 1 and the first frame of the second clip in slide 2, make the transition happen, and then continue the video, the clip number 2, after the transition is over. But remember, there will be a gap. The second slide would stand still for a while and then the animation will start. So if you're okay with that, I'm sure you can do that even in those softwares where chroma key removal probably is not possible. So this was my idea of how to use Keynote and PowerPoint presentations transitions in your video editing softwares. And I'm going to make one more video on how to use animations of these 2 powerful presentation softwares in your videos. Because again, another problem with videos is that the titles, they are fixed and you can't do really much with titles. And in the case of Adobe Premiere Pro, you'll have to go to another software and then probably build it from there. So I would prefer to use PowerPoint or Keynote because I'm more comfortable with these. You can use their animations, built-in animations, text effects and everything on your videos to enhance your videos, and I'll make a separate video on that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this video helped you in understanding how to do this. If you have something better or something different, a way of creating new transitions, please drop them in the comment section below. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any queries, any doubts, please drop them in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so immediately, because I'm going to keep posting these kind of videos regularly. In my channel Product Review, I post videos on gadgets, I post my videos on softwares and on tips and tricks and how to use one software with the other, merging one and two, and all kind of tech stuff is being done in this channel. So if you're interested, please do subscribe to this channel. The moment I post a video, you get a notification. You get a separate panel on the left side of your YouTube channel where all your subscriptions will be listed. And you could reach my channel or any channel for that matter that you subscribe directly without having to search them. So I hope you do subscribe to this channel. In case you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. This is Kalyan Kumar signing off. Have a great day. Goodbye and thank you for watching.